Tuning into Sci-Fi TV, the viewer's guide to genre television for the weeks of June 20th to July 3rd, 2015.
How did this happen? Where did it go? It should have been there last week's episode. I thought I was set up with my season pass. Now the new show is out and I don't know what happened last week. How did my TiVo forget?
Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Brent Barrett.
I'm Kevin Batchelder.
And I'm Wendy Hembrock.
And we're back from our break, but as you'll probably hear in the show, we're probably still on break, but we'll see how it goes. All right, first up, we do have a poll running on the website. We are asking you, which of the Sci-Fi Friday shows are you enjoying or hope to enjoy the most? And the winner, fortunately, is all three. The shows are Defiance, Dark Matter, and Killjoys, by the way. All three of them are the winner, which is good news for sci-fi and good news for genre fans, but it looks like Defiance and Dark Matter are slightly edging out Dark Matter and Killjoys, but I'm glad that a lot of people are liking a lot of shows, but there are still 6% of you who don't like any of them, and I need to speak to you.
Yeah, since they're so different, I would think you could find one of the three, but it's just great to have Sci-Fi Fridays back.
Yeah, it's nice to see that people are actually trying them all out, and thanks for voting. And I am surprised that nobody likes any of them, because I do think each one of them has something unique and something for everybody.
Yeah, definitely, unless you're just not a genre fan, in which case, why are you visiting our site and voting in our polls?
Maybe they're looking for wrestling.
Oh, yeah. All right, well, for the new listeners, we just wanted to let you guys know and remind you, we used to tell you about genre DVD and Blu-ray releases here on the show, but we found that takes a lot of time, and it's much easier to do that in a blog post because we can get it out in real time. And we have been releasing on our blog on a routine basis. Thank you, Kevin, for doing that. He does all the research on that and posts for us. All the new releases every week, about every week. So definitely check it out. And you can even subscribe to our blog. There's a place on the front page to do that if you want to get emails when those posts come out. I actually find those very helpful.
Yeah, this is, the time of year, actually, we've had, I think, almost 15 of these releases announced in the last 2 weeks. So that's why I threw it in here as a reminder. So a lot of them are towards the fall, naturally, as the shows DVD releases come out shortly before a lot of the shows return. But if you are someone who wants to be aware of what to order, and again, another way to support us, because all of these blog posts have links to the Amazon sales point where, we get the small commission if you use those links. So another reason to give you an easy way to support the show, too. But yeah, I had a bunch of them to list in the last couple of weeks, so my pocketbook's going to get a lot lighter come the fall.
Well, you can also add them to your wish list and watch as the prices go down and look for sales, too, which is what I do.
Or share your wish list with your friends and family and hope that they'll buy it for you as a gift.
There you go.
That's the spirit.
All right, and speaking of gifts, we are going to announce a new contest. And this is a kind of a cool one because there's a lot of good stuff on Netflix right now, and we're going to offer the winner of this contest a gift card to Netflix. You're going to need to check the blog for details on that, for the amounts, for how to enter and all of that stuff. But I'm sure there will be a code phrase in the water cooler, so stay tuned and pay attention.
Yeah, you can use this if you, for some reason, don't have a plan. This is a great way to start one for free to try it, or an existing one. You want to, cut your costs. Or maybe if you're only DVD or only streaming and want to add the other, here's your way to get some more great content, folks.
Yep, we've been talking about a lot of good stuff on Netflix, and hopefully this is a way for someone to get in on the fun.
And here's a hint if you're the winner and you don't have a Netflix subscription. I think they allow you to sign up for a free trial period. Right before that ends, use the gift card. So you get a lot more time on the card.
Win-win.
All right, let's head on over to our spoiler-free water cooler.
Do you experience bouts of geekdom? If so, Anomaly may be right for you. In clinical studies, Anomaly's convention reports, cosplay topics, and commentary on Star Wars, Doctor Who, Star Trek, and other sci-fi fantasy genres provided a feeling of fullness while promoting optimal geekiness. Anomaly is available over the counter at Stitcher and in the iTunes, Zune, and BlackBerry stores. Learn more at anomalypodcast.com. That's ANOMALY podcast.com. Anomaly, your prescription for geek entertainment.
All right, first up on the water cooler, as usual, our quick reviews were for the last 2 weeks. We're going to rate all of the shows that aired and give them a watch it now, watch it soon, let it sit on the DVR, or you can skip it rating. This is going to be a lengthy one, folks. Stay tuned. Stay awake. First up is Saturday, June 20th, Orphan Black season finale, episode 10 of season 3, History Yet to Be Written. I would give it a low end watch it now.
Same thing here.
Strong watch it soon.
Okay, and next up is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, 102, episode 2 of season 1. How is Lady Pole? Question mark. I have to say, shamedly, that I forgot that the show was on, even though I loved the first episode. I haven't seen this one.
Not one I'm watching.
It was really good. I would give it a low watch it now.
Excellent. All right, moving to Sunday the 21st. Beauty and the Beast, 3.03. That'd be episode 3 of season 3. Bob and Carol and Vincent and Kat. I am not watching this currently.
Neither am I.
I watched this and I would say skip it.
Ooh, bad sign.
Ouch.
Yeah.
All right. We also had Penny Dreadful, episode 8 of season 2, Memento Mori. I would say watch it soon.
Maybe high watch it soon for me.
Yeah, strong watch it soon.
Okay, and also Salem, episode 12 of season 2, Midnight Never Come. Somebody needs to fix their grammar there. I'd say high-end watch it soon.
Not on my schedule.
I agree. High watch it soon.
All right, and also on that Sunday, The Last Ship returned for a 2-episode block, episode 201, Unreal City, and episode 2 of season 2, Fight the Ship. And guys, I'd say watch it now.
Yeah, I think other folks like these two more than I did. I would just give them a middle to upper watch it soon.
I would also agree. Watch it now.
Yeah, Kevin's the weirdo here. Sorry.
Yeah. We know
He
that.
came to the party late, though.
He's too hyped. It was disappointing to him.
We might have spoiled them with too high expectations.
We'll chat about some details later, I think.
Okay. All right, moving to Monday the 22nd, we have The Whispers, episode 4 of season 1, Meltdown. I am not currently watching.
Yeah, I gave up on this one a while back.
It finally took a turn to a story. I would say watch it soon.
Good to hear. All right. Tuesday the 23rd, we have Stitchers, episode 4 of season 1, I See You. Continues to be entertaining. I'd just say watch it soon.
Yeah, entertained, but probably a low watch it soon for this one.
Yeah, I dropped this one.
Yeah, I actually meant low watch it soon as well, Kevin. All right, the 25th of June, Thursday, we have Wayward Pines, episode 6 of season 1, Choices. I would say watch it soon.
I've fallen behind, so this one's still sitting on my DVR.
I would also say watch it soon.
I know what it is, Kevin. We all anticipated after the great episode 5 that it would go downhill, so you've just been holding off watching it because you don't want to be disappointed, right?
I wanted to hear.
All right. Well, moving to Friday the 26th, we have Dark Matter, episode 3 of season 1. I think it's just called episode 3 of season 1. And I'd say low end watch it soon.
Yeah, watch it soon.
Yeah, watch it soon.
All right. And Defiance, episode 4 of season 3, Dead Air. I would give this one a low end watch it now.
I'd go high watch it soon.
Yeah, I would say low watch it now also.
Excellent. All right. Killjoys, episode 2 of season 1, the Sugar Point Run. I would say watch it soon.
I would say watch it soon as well.
Yeah, watch it soon.
Okay, and now to Saturday the 27th, we have Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell again, episode 3 of season 1, The Education of a Magician, and I already said how embarrassed I was before, so I'll let somebody else talk.
Yep, not watching.
Really good. Watch it now.
All right, and Sunday the 28th, we have a bunch of shows. Beauty and the Beast, episode 4 of season 3, Heart of the Matter, I am not watching.
Neither am I.
Watch it soon, but only for the guest star, not the plot.
Who's the guest star?
Saul Rubinek from Warehouse 13.
Oh, cool. Yeah. All right, we also had Falling Skies coming back for its season 5, its final season, episode 1, Find Your Warrior. This was a surprisingly good return for Falling Skies. I'd say high-end watch it soon.
Not a show I watch anymore.
I would say watch it soon. I'm more pessimistic. I did enjoy it, but I think they're going to bait and switch us again.
Again, yeah, I am right there with you. All right, we also had a premiere of a new show, Humans, episode 1 of season 1, entitled episode 101. And I would give this one a low-end watch it now. I loved it.
Yeah, they had me very intrigued. I'd go high watch it soon.
I would give it a regular watch it now.
And Penny Dreadful, episode 9 of season 2, and Hell Itself, My Only Foe. I would say high-end watch it soon.
Yep, that's what I.
Yes, very strong watch it soon.
And also we had Salem. This was the season finale, episode 13 of season 2, The Witching Hour. I would say watch it now.
Not on my schedule.
Yeah, I would say low watch it now.
Ooh, Brent likes the show better than Wendy.
Well, we might talk about it.
All right, and we also had The Last Ship, episode 3 of season 2. It's not a rumor. It's not a rumor. I would say high-end watch it soon.
Now, this was a really good episode. This was a watch it now for me.
Yeah, I would say low watch it now.
Wow, Kevin really liked the character episode, not the action episodes. That's interesting.
Well, yeah, and there's some reasons, and we'll go into that later, I think.
Okay. All right. Moving to Monday the 29th, we have Teen Wolf premiere of Season 5, Episode 1, Creatures of the Night. I would give this one a watch it soon.
Just like you with that same tone in the voice. Underwhelmed.
Yeah, watch it soon.
All right, and also The Whispers, Episode 5 of Season 1, What Lies Beneath, I am not watching.
Neither am I.
This was pretty good. Watch it soon.
Okay, and then moving to Tuesday the 30th, we have Stitchers, Episode 5 of Season 1, Stitcher in the Rye. I would say high-end watch it soon.
Haven't got to it yet, still on the DVR.
Not a show I watch.
All right, and Teen Wolf, MTV gave us 2 episodes over 2 nights. Episode 2 of Season 5, Parasomnia. I would say watch it soon.
As would I.
Yeah, watch it soon.
All right, moving to Wednesday, the 1st of July, we have Extant back. Holly Berry is back. Episode 1 of Season 2, Change Scenario. And they sure did change things up. So much so that I'd only give this a high and let it sit.
Ouch, yeah. I've been hearing a lot of that, unfortunately. Not when I'm watching, though.
I watched it, and I would also say let it sit.
Okay, moving to the 2nd of July, Thursday, we have Wayward Pines, Episode 7 of Season 1, Betrayal. This one was a low-end watch it soon.
Yeah, still on my DVR, waiting to hear the consensus on the back half of this season.
I would say just regular watch it soon.
All right, we're almost done, folks. Hold in there. Friday, the 3rd of July, we have Dark Matter, Episode 4 of Season 1, Episode 1.4. And I would give that one a high-end watch it soon.
I'd give it just a regular watch it soon for me.
I liked it. Strong watch it soon.
Yeah, all right. Defiance, Episode 5 of Season 3, History Rhymes. I also enjoyed this one. High-end watch it soon.
Yep, another high watch it soon. Very solid.
Yeah, I would say low watch it now.
Ooh, now Wendy likes the character episode. All right, Killjoys, Episode 3 of Season 1, The Harvest. I would give it a watch it soon.
Well, I'd give it a very high watch it soon.
Yeah, I would go low watch it soon.
Boo.
Yeah, all right. Well, we've got some streaming shows that we're trying to watch 1 episode a week, including Sense 8, Episode 4 of Season 1, What's Going On? What's going on? Wendy didn't get the joke earlier. High-end watch it soon.
That's because I watched this show.
Haven't got to it yet.
Yeah, not watching this yet.
All right, and also Daredevil, Episode 12 of Season 1, The Ones We Leave Behind. High-end watch it soon.
Same thing for me.
Yes.
And we are also watching and rewatching The Almighty Johnsons, Episode 4 of Season 3, Like the Berserkers of Old. And I rated this a long time ago, so I'm not going to try to remember how.
I'd give it a watch it soon.
Yeah, watch it soon.
All right, folks. Thank you for staying along for that and staying awake.
It's like 30 some odd shows there. Or episodes, I should say, technically.
Yeah, now we're going to get on to some feedback. We've got a voicemail item here from Scott in Massachusetts. He wants to talk about a bunch of shows. Let's let him explain.
First of all, Mandy and I have started to watch Under the Dome again this year, and it is hilarious as ever. I'm so glad I changed my perspective on that show because it is so funny. The acting, the writing, the plot holes, the plot devices that have just shown up and then been dropped completely. It's really amazing that a show like this exists, and I'm so glad I decided to watch it for the humor. And you guys don't watch anymore, but for anybody that watches, go and read some of the reviews after you watch the episode. Go read the reviews. There's especially one guy named Tim Surratt that writes a hilarious review every episode, and it's as funny as the show itself. And the comment section is good too after that. But anyway, that's that. Also, just let you know, we're enjoying Killjoys and Dark Matter very much. For Daredevil, I'm up to episode 10, and I can't wait for to watch the last 3, but I've been so busy I haven't had a chance. That's unbelievable, and I'm really looking forward to the next 4 Netflix shows. Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist, I believe. And then after that, they all get together for the Defenders, I hear. So that's fun to look forward to.
Hey, thanks, Scott. It's always fun when we get our listeners giving us quick, spoiler-free recaps of some of their viewings. Yeah, Daredevil's been staying very strong. It's funny. We haven't talked much about the episodes here, but boy, they've been all solid. So that's been wonderful to see. And the other quick comment, Under the Dome, again, my wife watches that show. And she has, and I caught her, or I shouldn't say caught her, but I saw her in the last couple of days catching up in a couple of episodes. And I asked her, so how you liking it, honey? And she's like, this thing's just insane. So she's not even sure what she's watching.
Thanks, Scott. I'm glad that you're still getting entertainment in watching the train wreck over and over. We had a question from folks on the forum if others were watching the show because they knew we're not watching it. So it's nice to know that there's a body of folks who are still getting entertained. It's also nice to hear the enthusiasm for Sci-Fi Friday.
Yeah, it's great to hear, Kevin, that your wife thinks it's crazy too, but is still watching it. So now I'm worried. I don't want to actually catch an episode because I might get sucked into how insanely crazy it is. Yeah, I hear you talking about Dark Matter and Killjoys, Scott, and I know previously you've talked about watching Defiance with your wife, so I'm glad you're still watching that whole 3. So you're probably one of the people who voted for all 3 on our poll, and that's great news. Thank you. Also, we wanted to share with you some premiere dates, and Wendy's going to do that.
Yeah, a bunch of networks have announced the return dates. So first up is NBC, which will be coming back in late September. Thursday, September 24th is when Heroes Reborn will be coming back. And then October 30th, Friday before Halloween, Grimm will return. The CW is also bringing things back instead in early October. So The Flash and iZombie on Tuesdays will start things off October 6th. That Wednesday will be Arrow and Supernatural, and then Thursday will be Vampire Diaries and the originals, all coming back in that week. And Fox is bringing stuff back a little bit more split up. In mid to late September, Monday, September 21st, will be the return of Gotham and the premiere of Minority Report. Then the Tuesday, the September 22nd, will be a 2-hour premiere for Scream Queens. And then Sleepy Hollow is coming back, but not until October 1st, and on a new night, moving to Thursdays.
All cool dates. Great to hear them. I worry about the Arrow and the Flash because I remember last season when they had some crossovers, and I'm sure they're going to do it again. And I'm sitting here crossing my fingers, hoping there's no preemption so they don't get the episodes out of order again like they did for that one particular crossover.
Yeah, it's funny with I've seen a lot of folks talking about in the Arrow fandom, some of the CW affiliates are the ones that are carrying like baseball teams and other things, and it's for part of the year it messes with that quite a bit, so that's too bad for those folks. But it's funny, naturally, folks, all these dates are up on our Tuner calendar. So if you want it all in one place, feel free to look it up there. But when I do look at it kind of as all of them, it's pretty well spread out. I mean, I think it was last year we had a real crunch, like in a 5-day period, we had, a giant amount of shows. But as you said, Wendy, with some of them being late September, some early October, and then Grimm a little later in October, they're pretty well spaced. So it'll be a little easier jumping in on a lot of shows.
Yeah, it looks like by the 3rd week in September, all the networks will be pretty much jumping into the pool by then. I agree, it does cause a problem with the CW with baseball breaking things up, but who knows, maybe they took that into account this year, or maybe they're just writing things so that it isn't quite so obvious when they get out of order.
Let's hope. All right, I've got a couple of links here. TNT's been releasing a lot of cool Last Ship videos. We've got a couple of them to share with you. One is a general behind-the-scenes video. The other one, however, is an inside look at the Season 2 premiere with some really good details in there, so I recommend you guys check this out.
Yeah, I skimmed through these a little bit, too, once I had watched the first couple of episodes, and like you said, they give some meaty stuff on the TNT things. I like that. Some of the other networks are a little skimpier in season, but they've got some good stuff.
Yeah, these were fun to watch, especially after seeing the premiere. It was especially nice to get that inside look.
Okay, moving on. Kevin, you've got some information about Heroes Reborn.
Yes, we've got released in the past few days the first trailer for the show, a little over a minute long, so it's a true trailer. And, we've been talking for months about, many of us loved season 1, and then the show totally went off the rails, and hey, what we're going to watch, we're going to be interested, and so forth. And I got to say, this trailer for me did its job, because while it's, not giving a lot away, you're going to see some familiar faces, some of the new faces. And near the end, when they bring in the original Heroes theme, I got to say, I got little interested extra. So for me, it's ratcheting up my desire to watch the show.
Oh, that's good for you. Didn't quite work the same way on me.
I knew you'd be the holdout.
Well, I definitely, I've been the least interested in a Heroes reboot, and there were some parts that were good. I have to say the ending shot, though, made me think that this is going to be a lot of retreaded stuff without new story. So it's got to do a little bit more work to get me on board the excitement train.
Wow, totally different from you, Wendy. I was watching this, in the beginning I was like you, I was watching this trailer and I was going, ho-hum, I guess I'm on board to watch it. It's nothing really exciting. But that shot of Hero at the end, I was like, oh yeah, years have gone by. We might be able to see the Hero from the future now. Oh my gosh, that's going to be great. So I was excited. And crickets.
To me, that looked like a dead-end street. It looked like a tease that they won't pay off. I'm just skeptical of the showrunners of the show.
Okay.
Come on, just keep thinking season one. It's going to be like season one.
I don't believe that. I don't think we
It
ever...
may break my heart, and you're gonna stand there and pat me on the back going, I told you so.
I might be gone by the time they break your heart. I told you, this show's going to have to work really hard, especially given all the other stuff on. It's going to have to work pretty hard to grab my attention again.
Well, I do think it's a smart thing, whether or not they did it this way on purpose or not, that it's one of the first genre shows premiering, so it comes in before a lot of our other stuff does.
Yeah,
So,
that was a smart move on their part.
Yeah, she won't be patting you on the back, Kevin. She'll be saying, suck it up, I told you so.
How many times are these people going to burn you? Yeah, I know. I've been there.
All right. Contest clip time. In your contest entry, tell us what Kimmy Schmidt says she's eating for dinner.
I just want to be a normal person. I'm having candy for dinner.
We do have a batch of casting news as well, and Wendy's going to share that.
Yeah, if you don't want to know what's coming for Legends of Tomorrow, Scream Queens, the new series from SciFi called Hunters, or Outlander, then jump ahead a couple of minutes, because that's what I'm going to cover. So first up, Legends of Tomorrow, which is the spin-off on the CW for Arrow and The Flash, has a new showrunner, Phil Klemmer, who was the showrunner for the Tomorrow People. And he also worked with Greg Berlanti, who is one of the showrunners behind The Flash, Arrow, and Supergirl. He worked with him on Political Animals in the past. So there's some interesting pedigree here. Klemmer was also one of the writer-producers involved in Chuck and season 1 of Veronica Mars, as well as Forever from ABC, the show that Brent and I enjoyed quite a bit. So he's got a pretty good track record. Next, we have some casting news for Scream Queens. Buffy alum Charisma Carpenter has been cast in a recurring part as somebody's mother. That's all the details. The Sci-Fi Channel's upcoming Hunters, which is based on the novel Alien Hunter, has cast Julian McMahon to play one of the key parts. He's one of the hunters. The hunters are these folks who are searching for people who were possibly kidnapped by aliens or somehow vanished, and there's a government conspiracy tied, as well as possibly alien extraterrestrial terrorists. But Julian McMahon, folks will know from Nip Tuck. They might also remember him from Charmed. He's going to play an unhinged drug addict and hunter cell leader, so crazy and violent, which is definitely in his wheelhouse. And Outlander has cast one of the rather important characters for season 2, actress Frances Delatour, who folks might recognize from the Harry Potter movies. She was the headmistress of the French school. She played Madame Maxine. Will be playing Mother Hildegard in Outlander, who is the Mother Superior of a hospital in Paris. And Claire, one of the lead characters in Outlander, will spend a lot of time with her. So for Gotham Season 2, there's the character called the Tigress, who will be introduced, played by Jessica Lucas. She may be familiar to folks from Grace Point. And the go-to bad guy, James Frayne, who folks will recognize from Grimm, as well as many other genre shows, will also be cast. And he will be playing probably a relative of the Tigress, but he's also going to be probably the big bad. He's an industrialist who's new to Gotham, but also violent and chaotic, which is sort of the MO, but he is the brother of the Tabitha Gallivan character.
All great casting bits of information. I have to admit, though, that the Charisma Carpenter casting for Scream Queens really got my interest because she was one of my favorite characters, or favorite actors from Buffy, and she played a favorite character of mine. I do have to say, though, that, man, I feel old that she's being cast as a mother of potentially a teenage or a 20-something character. I shouldn't feel this old, Kevin.
Yeah, you're not alone. I saw some nice discussions in some Buffy fandom about that. But to her credit, Charisma is still looking pretty amazing. So and has been in some recent movies. So it's going to be great, though. That's part of what I think is going to make, or at least I hope it'll make, Scream Queens kind of fun. Is they've got some great actors and actresses, and they're going to have some fun with the craziness. So going to be great to see her there. I was glad to see too, in the mention of Legends of Tomorrow, certainly a showrunner with some serious genre cred. I mean, Berlanti is brilliant, but again, as we've talked about many times over the years, when you got a showrunner doing so many shows, they tend, something's got to give. So I'm glad that they're going to have someone else besides him and someone that we know has done some other good stuff there. So again, that's just making Legends of Tomorrow seem like an even better bet to really be a fun show.
Well, it seems like that whole DC universe, they have a pretty good handle on how they're setting things up and hopefully sharing the load. I know I definitely dinged Arrow for getting lack of continuity attention due to The Flash, and I think that hopefully this guy will give all the focus that's needed to Legends of Tomorrow so that the other shows don't lose anything too.
Yeah, here's hoping. The CW is definitely DC's home, whereas Marvel is spread out across ABC and Netflix now, so we'll see where it goes. All right, moving on. We've got news here that Neil Gaiman is going to be writing episodes of the adaptation of his story, American Gods, which is cool news. That was announced by Brian Fuller. And it's mentioned in this article that he's a talented but maybe inexperienced screenwriter. He has written some episodes for some shows. We know Doctor Who. He wrote one of the best episodes ever, The Doctor's Wife. And also he wrote an episode of Babylon 5. So he's got some experience, and everything he's done has been pretty good. So I'm looking forward to his view on the screen of his work on the page.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you just said. That last part there is why I'm just stoked, not having had any experience with the source material, but knowing it's Neil Gaiman and knowing some other people who have read it are very excited. So this is just another example of can't get here fast enough.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to this. I do agree. I think Neil Gaiman did write one of the best episodes of Doctor Who. And also, Brett reminded me of a good episode of Babylon 5, too. So it's always good when the creator is involved and has some level of input. Writing the screenplay is a great way to get the input. I'm a little bit torn because I'm very sad that Brian Fuller's other show, Hannibal, got canceled by NBC, but who knows, maybe it'll get pulled over to a cable channel too to keep the showrunner happy. Who knows?
You hear that, Stars?
Yeah, I got my fingers crossed. Season 3's been crazy good.
All right. Okay, Kevin, you've got some news about Agent Carter.
Yeah, the notes to the article or the title might talk about it being a little bit of a tease for what's coming in season 2. Really, at this point, it's more about some of the cast that'll be involved. So, we've reported before a couple of weeks back, I think, that season 2 is going to have Peggy going from New York to Los Angeles. So, I mean, really, if you're really sensitive for casting stuff, folks, you might want to jump ahead a minute or two on this one. Only that they're saying that definitely for sure we're going to have the characters of Jarvis back there, and also Daniel Souza, Enver Shokai, for sure, have been signed on. And some of the other recognizable faces are the ones they're saying right now are, quote, in talks to return. So as far as, her next door neighbor, Angie, and, our favorite, certainly Bridget Regan, who played kind of the bad gal character, and also Agent Jack Thompson are the folks that are still in negotiations. So they're trying to, as they say, put the band back together, I think, and have a good part of them available there. So very excited, very much looking forward to it. Same idea as last year. It'll be, running in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. hiatus block, and very much excited to see it back in early 2016.
Well, they've got 2 of the 3 that to me are the key characters, with having both Jarvis and future Mr. Peggy. But Angie, they need to get Angie locked down, and then I'll be a happy camper.
Potential future Mrs. Peggy. We don't know.
I know.
Did I say Mrs. Peggy? Mr. Peggy. Yeah. Well, maybe it is Mrs. Peggy.
I don't know.
But you're right. Once they get get Angie back, I think that's going to be a key thing. We do want to get them to get together. But that said, this is a comic book adaptation series, and comic books always have characters come in and out and appear for a series and never come back. So it wouldn't blow the whole enjoyment of Agent Carter for me. But I'm hoping that they bring her back at least.
Yeah, I mean, I think the two that are a deal breaker, they've locked down. So good job, show.
Cool. All right. Well, Wendy, you've got some information about the show Humans.
Yeah, this is kind of a cool interview with Gemma Chan, who plays the synth called Anita in Humans. And it's mostly about sort of the things that she had to do to play a robot and sort of the, I guess, the shorthand for their behavior. I think it makes more sense if you've actually seen an episode to understand what she's describing, but overall it was a really interesting insight into one of the really unique things about this show, so I found it very entertaining.
Yeah, I'm tempted. I don't want to spoil anybody, but I kind of want to say I understand what she's talking about because, her being a human pretending to be a emotionless robot really plays into the character she's playing. Let's just put it that way. So this is a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, this is one I haven't had a chance to read yet, but do have on my reading list. And I've heard from a couple of people who've had a chance to see the first few episodes. I think the first 3, and they said, yeah, eps 2 and 3 really kind of crank things up. So I'm definitely saving this one because I want to see where they go with it.
Yeah, I mean, I had actually read this before I watched the episode, and then I came back and reread it again after I had watched it. And I would definitely recommend reading it after you watch at least the pilot. Awesome.
I also have an interview. This is with the star of Supergirl, Melissa Benoist. I don't know exactly how to pronounce her last name, but I'm going to say that. It starts out as a pretty standard interview, asking questions like, when she want to be an actor, her time on the show Glee, her audition for Supergirl, landing the role, and all that stuff. Then it goes into a little more things like, are you a fan of the comics, putting on the costume. And then they do some really serious stuff too, because there's a lot of talk about, is Supergirl a role model for women and all of that. So there's a lot of breadth of discussion in this interview, so it's definitely an enjoyable read.
Yeah, this is a show that's a little lower on my radar. Not that I'm not looking forward to it. So this was a nice one to kind of get more of a feel for her. So that was nice.
I hadn't ever really read any interviews with this actor before, so it was a good introduction to her as an actor and also a good insight into what went into casting and thinking about the character and the kind of person that they wanted to be anchoring this show. So I enjoyed this a lot. I'm definitely looking forward to this show.
Yeah, and if you're one of the folks who did see the pilot, you know that it's worth waiting for. Okay, moving on. Kevin, you've got some information about Killjoys.
Yes, our final news item for the week is an interview with the showrunner, Michelle Loretta, who folks may be familiar with for being the showrunner for Lost Girl. This is a lengthy interview, a text-based interview. It's a nice mix of just general questions about the show, how the idea came to her and how long it took to, actually come to pass, casting a little bit, and also a few questions about some things we've seen in the first 3 episodes a little bit, in case you're not up on the show, some of the answers, while a little vague, are a little spoilery. So, those specific questions, if you're someone who hasn't started watching Killjoys yet, you can kind of tell by the question if it's going to be talking a little bit about some content. But the majority of it really is more about the show, how it came to pass, how much of a challenge they had trying to cast a lead character. They're Dutch, how much, in my humble opinion, they had a home run with that. I think the actress is doing great there. And just kind of, what to look forward to in the show, and some mysteries they've opened up and some mysteries they'll, leave open even at the end of season 1. So if you're someone who's watching the show a little bit, this is definitely a meaty one, and I think you'll enjoy.
Yeah, there was a lot in this. I thought it was very interesting that they basically found the person, but then they kept on trying to prove they hadn't actually found the right person for the role. I thought that was a very interesting insight into how casting works.
Yeah, it is a good read. Killjoys is a show that hasn't sold me something great yet, although I'm still entertained, but I was pleasantly surprised to see the showrunner mentioning Airwolf as one of her inspirations for the show and one of the shows she loved. Back in the 80s, and that was a show I absolutely loved, so kudos for that. All right, and we're going to wrap up the water cooler as usual with a Tuner Minute. This one was recorded by Wendy, and it's entitled Time Lapse.
This week's Tuner Minute is inspired by friend of the show, Kurt Armbruster, asking about time and how time is portrayed in TV series and movies, and whether or not you notice when it seems to be the same time in what should be vastly different time zones. People are talking to each other on opposite sides of the globe, and they're both in full daylight or both at night. Or even the difference between Pacific West Coast and Atlantic East Coast time. Does it bother you when it seems like the showrunners are disregarding or playing loose with timing? Does it interrupt your enjoyment of the story, or can you mostly accept it? What about when events tie up quickly in an episode that should take more time than seems to pass on screen? Does time matter to you in watching a TV show either within the episode or from episode to episode? So listeners, does it matter if time is viewed in a linear or progressive way within an episode? Or is it okay that it's more nonlinear and maybe more subjective, like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly timey-wimey?
That is interesting, and thank you, Kurt, for the suggestion. I have to say that I don't notice it mostly when it's like, doing a video conference or something, or two people talking on the phone and we flip between the two and they're in completely different time zones and the time's pretty much the same. It doesn't really strike me as odd. If it's daylight, I imagine, if it's 3 hours away, it may not be a night where the other person is. So it doesn't bother me too much. It bothers me when it's, like you mentioned, or you and Kurt mentioned, where you're traveling, like somebody gets on a plane to go somewhere, and then, a little scene happens, and then we're led to believe that at the same time something only an hour later is happening, somebody's across the country or something. That kind of bothers me. I do notice, however, when they get it right on the time zones, and one show in particular, Sense8, since we're flipping all around the world, and we're flipping around the world in real time, you notice when they do it right. For instance, if they're in the U.S. and somebody in the U.S. is flashing over to South Korea, where another character is. And if it's daytime in the U.S., it's nighttime in Korea. They do a really good job with that. So I'm pleased when they do it right, for sure.
Yeah, and your last statement there is kind of where the more important part comes for me, is I'm okay if it's not, quote, accurate, as long as you don't screw it up or make it so obvious that it's not accurate. So for the most part, it's one of those hand wave things. I'm not going to think too hard about it. If it is a show that is a very smart show that takes things very seriously in detail, then I'm more likely to be paying attention to it. So it is one of those, there's only a handful of shows where I'm really fine-tuning on the details, and the details are important. So those are the ones where you better do it right. For most shows, I'm going to be okay. I'm barely going to notice, or if I do see it, it's not going to bother me. We had a good chuckle talking on our Arrow podcast a little bit about this season, without being spoilery, about the Nando Parbat location. How sometimes it seemed like everybody was able to get there in, like 10 minutes. And other times you had to have a scene of people on a plane getting there. So it was obviously whatever fit the writing. So, that's when you kind of get my attention, when you change the rules mid-show. So watch out. If you're consistent, I'm less likely to pay attention.
Yeah, I agree. Traveling is definitely one where the show has to establish a convention and be consistent about it. I think Arrow is wildly inconsistent about it. There's definitely a super jet flight to Nanda Parbat leaving every 20 minutes, apparently, from Starling City. I also find it difficult when there's time jumps that are significant between episodes, when in a show, you've been going along and almost cliffhanging every episode, so it seems like very little time is passing between an episode, and then all of a sudden we jump forward and it's like, well, it was 3 months since the last episode. It's like, well, what all happened? Because to me, that's also an inconsistency in how they're rolling out the story. Those bother me, I would say, more than just what I would call even gross errors, where, it's daylight in Japan at the same time it's daylight in Chicago. Those I can just hand wave because they're just blatant errors. It's like, okay, they didn't have time or whatever. But to me, it's more when it starts to confuse me about the plausibility of other things if they're taking so many liberties with time.
Good question, Kurt. Thank you very much for that, and look forward to hearing your guys' response, so please let us know. Let's move over to our spoiler-filled back porch now and discuss some of the shows. Today we talk about The Last Ship and Defiance. All right, first up, I'm going to talk about The Last Ship. We've had 3 episodes since it premiered and since we last spoke with you folks. And you'll have to forgive me because I'm going on memory alone and 2 weeks' time and a business trip in the middle. So I'm going to hit some highlights of what I loved about the return of The Last Ship. First of all, I love how they pick up right where they left off. I also love how they resolved the situation with the, I don't know if you call it the president or the mayor or the boss lady, pretty quickly. And the situation where she was taking bodies and killing people basically who were already sick, just not giving them the cure, giving them a poison, and burning their bodies to fuel the power plant, including the body of our hero captain's wife, hero commander's wife. So I'm glad that they resolved that quickly. I didn't want that dragged out. I didn't want another like Walking Dead Governor 2-season sort of stretch out sort of thing. And they got it knocked off. They got their ship back in the course of these first 2 episodes. And they resolved her. She's not coming back because she was confronted. And I thought, I don't know about you guys, but I thought for sure that our hero guy was going to actually kill her at one point. I mean, he was trying to take her into custody, and he had told the guys, put down your weapons or guards, and they did, and it looked like he was going to like arrest her basically and have her be put on trial, kind of like a Saddam Hussein or something. But I also got the impression as she was talking and he was talking that he was going to pull a gun on her, but then she decided to end it all on her own. She just pulled out the little poison needle and just stuck it in her neck, and she was dead. And I thought, wow, that's refreshing that they didn't drag out the bad guy and so forth. But there's ramifications to that because her daughter, of course, was one of the officers on the ship. And she had, she feels bad, very bad, because she feels that she had convinced everybody that her mother was somebody they could trust, and her mother betrayed them all, and she's ashamed to go back to the ship. And she got wounded, of course, in the fight. But she's taken back to the ship anyway because she's one of theirs. And she's, put in sick bay, and eventually at the end of the 3rd episode, she gets a promotion as well, and she's welcomed back in, and nobody seems to really have a problem with her except she does. Although it's pointed out to her that the captain of the ship feels even worse than she does because he's the one who, gave the order for everybody to go ashore and all of this stuff, and which led to so much death. And they did lose quite a number of people on the ship, which is another refreshing thing about this show, that they don't skimp on that, and they don't show that there's no risk to what's going on here. And we also had in the 3rd episode when they went back to Virginia, and they found a lot of people, and there were some people, some reunions. Some of the people wanted to stay, and the captain agreed and allowed them to basically resign or leave the Navy and leave the ship and move on. So there's a lot of progress in these first 3 episodes, and I loved it. And I also loved, we get a little more progress with Tex is back, and Tex and Doc scenes were pretty cool, and Doc is interested in still trying to figure out what happened to the man, from what I remember from season 1, the man she loves. I don't know if it's her fiance or her husband. She's trying to dig into more information about what happened to him in Egypt, and she's going through some emotional stuff, and Tex is there to support her, which I thought was pretty cool, and they have this great relationship back and forth. But a lot of great advancement in the ship. The captain actually seriously considers, leaving the Navy and leaving the ship, and he's convinced by a couple of people that is not what he should be doing, that his mission is not over, and he shouldn't give up the mission. And so he leaves his kids in the care of his father at his house in Virginia, and decides to go back to the ship. So, guys, I thought this was an awesome return for the show, and it's just, as with season 1, season 2 is just nonstop, full speed ahead, as they would say in the Navy. It's just boom, 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 and I can't wait to see where it goes. Oh, by the way, we also have that crazy cult that appeared in the 3rd episode that, doesn't want people to be cured because they think the naturally immune should inhabit the earth, and they want to kill everybody else. So I wonder where that's going to go.
Yeah, it's funny. We were having some discussions via email, crew ones, after the first couple episodes aired, and I was surprised I was not enjoying them as much as you two were, and a lot of other people online. And I wouldn't say I didn't like them as much as maybe because I kind of knew what they would be covering as things started to play out, the whole, get everybody back together and so forth. So I don't want to ding it on that. And then the 3rd episode I absolutely loved. And as you said a little earlier, it was the character episode, certainly. But I think part of the reason, a good part of the reason why I really love that third episode is, to me, this show, I'm enjoying it the most when they're spending a lot of time on the ship. No, just, when they're on land and they were having to fight through to get back, everybody back together and stuff like that. I'm enjoying it, but I'm not liking it as much as when they're dealing with what's going on the ship for the most part, or moving between locations. They still, in the third one, spent a good time on land because they got back to where a lot of their families were. But that, coupled with the real strong character bits for a show that's only got a little bit of genre, at least to me, the whole hook of what's going on. So many of these actors, I just love watching them, sink their teeth into their roles. And I do really ship, Doc and Tex quite a bit. Those actors, boy, it just really works for me. The two of them spending scenes together, it's really powerful stuff. So I would say a little underwhelmed in the first couple episodes. Enjoyed them, good stuff developing, what I expected. But that third one, just was real gut punch. I mean, I really appreciated that.
Well, I guess I didn't think they were going to resolve Baltimore as quickly as they did. So to me, that was very quickly resolved to set up and move on. So that's why I like that part. And I didn't think he was going to kill her. I was very surprised that she shot herself, though, which was convenient. So I was kind of glad about that, because it's like, great, we don't have to stick around for a trial because she's dead. But I like the fallout of everything that happened. When they leave, nobody feels good about what's happened in Baltimore. I really liked the whole storyline with the daughter and her guilt and, worry about what her crewmates are going to think about her, and that she was somehow involved, and that she let down her mission and she let down her crewmates. And I liked the arc for the commander, or whatever his title is. I keep forgetting, the captain, that, he feels the responsibility because he took them there. I also really liked the resolution of the problem of the inconsistency of him having his family on the ship while nobody else has their family. And I thought they did a good job with showing folks go look for their families. I thought Adam Baldwin was really good in that scene where he's outside of his house and struggling with the same thing that the commander's struggling with about, what is your responsibility to your family versus your crewmates, especially if you're in one of the key leadership roles. I also really liked the story of the chief engineer, because I like that character. The one thing, though, that I still don't give a crap about is the pregnant person and her boyfriend. That story does not engage me. But I also like what they're setting up with the Citizen Zero guy. He's the originator of the cure, or of the disease, the plague, joined up with this cult. And at first I was thinking, well, is he doing that because he wants to take them out? Because when he first lands ashore near Norfolk, he ends up killing everybody on the beach and steals all their gear. So I'm going to be curious how many cult members are left next week after he's hung around them for a while, or if they're all immune, and that's partially why they think that they have some, religious right on their side, or how that's going to play out. So that'll be interesting whenever they run into them, because I think they're down in Florida. I also really like that they have now set up this bigger world. So it isn't them responsible to do everything. They got the codes to communicate with these other outposts where there's labs and potential other military folks that can also start manufacturing the cure and get some infrastructure up and going. So I like how they're sort of building out the universe there a little bit as well. So I think across these 3 episodes, they did a good job with plot and character time.
Yeah, that was a great sequence with all the mixed match of pilots and planes, Air Force, Navy, aircraft, all flying off in different directions to the different labs to distribute the cure and the knowledge of how to make the cure. I thought that was awesome, and that was one of the reasons why the captain wanted to retire. And by the way, his position and title on the ship is captain. His rank in the Navy is commander. And that's one of the things I love about this show, how well it does the Navy and how well it does the military. And the fact that on a ship like a destroyer, often you do have a commander or even a lieutenant commander as the captain of that ship. And you don't necessarily have a rank captain, a full bird, as they would say, rank. So I thought that was pretty cool. The cult, all of the members of that cult are immune naturally. That was the whole point of the cult. They've all been exposed to the disease. People around them have died, and they've all survived. So I think 100% of those cult members will survive after exposure to this guy, unless, of course, they're killed by other means.
Okay. I guess I missed that part.
Yeah, you're right. You surmised it. You said that maybe that's why they believe they have some kind of religious or spiritual or some supernatural purpose or cause or charter, and that's exactly why, because they're all naturally immune.
Well, that's unfortunate. The one character I hope they show is the girl from Haiti that they found who was naturally immune. I hope they bring that character back into the storyline. I also did like that they handled the what are we doing with the kids, and that the mission came first, and he sort of, basically got reminded by his father and his daughter that, you're supposed to be doing your duty. And I thought that was really well done too.
Yeah, that's again in that third episode why, the ship aspect of the story, like you said, the commitment, the duty they have, and having to make those tough choices for those lead characters, along with a lot of the other stuff. And I follow you as far as our pregnant ship hand. Not all that engaged with it, but I'm feeling a little more comfortable with it now. It's not quite as soap opera-y in terms of what they were doing with it. So it's feeling very natural, and that's where that third episode, they're all having to make these tough choices and do what's right, and then also just be themselves. And it's just getting me more and more. It's doing the job of a show in that the genre bits are becoming very secondary to me. I'm really interested in how these people are going to deal with these situations. In the cults, you got to have something going on land that gives them a foil or a problem to deal with, obviously. Russians were around pretty good in season 1. We got to have something that's going to be causing some problems. It can't all be just positive rainbows as they solve problems here and there. So that's a very valid way I could see it developing in a society of people starting to feel that way of entitlement because we survived this issue. So it's setting up pretty well to me. What have we got? I think is this like a 10-episode season likely again? So heck, we're already 3 down. So it's building pretty good.
Yeah, and we could talk about this for a long time, folks, but I think we want to talk about some other shows. So let's move on to Defiance and have Wendy kick that one off.
Yeah, so again, I'm going to sort of jump around across the last 2 episodes. And, the big things for me were that Stama and Daytak are continuing to, be coerced by the bad guy, whose name I forget. But they actually blow up the arch. And I gotta say, though, it was a little bit less dramatic than I was thinking because they didn't actually knock it down. They just put a bigger hole in the middle of it. But it has an impact. It has a very negative impact on the town. You also have Stama still trying to work the angles with the Omek. She has sex with them. She tries to poison him, which he figures out. And she admits she doesn't actually want to kill him, that, she's being coerced because of Elak. That was very funny that the whole reason why she likes him is because he made her pancakes, and that's like the first man who ever did anything for her, was sort of the implication. I also like the developments with the Nolan and Arissa stuff in across these episodes, where in the first one you have these headaches coming on repeatedly, while it turns out because of their increased separation, Nolan went off with Amanda to look for weapons because the other thing that Daytak and Stama had sabotaged was all of their munition supply. And they run into Bottinger, who's the guy who raped Amanda, and he turns out he's gone, really crazy since they last saw him. He has sort of this bunker with some biomen who try to take out Nolan at some point. They beat him up pretty good. But along the way, Nolan finds a guy named Amir, who is a veterinarian, so he's got some science and some medical knowledge that will be helpful. They finally leave Bottinger and they blow up everything and end up with no weapons out of the whole ordeal. And by the end of that episode, both Nolan and Orissa are, in some catatonic seizure-like state. They get Nolan back to town, and Doc Yule figures out that the tech that they were using in that pod, it's kind of fused their brains together. And so she needs to separate them. She needs a gizmo from the Olmecs, a drone, in order to do surgery, basically, simultaneously, is the only way to get it out of them. And they also have to make a deal with the Olmec daughter. So it turns out the Olmec daughter steals some of the indigene tissue out of the doctor, which will be setting up something bad. The thing that was interesting in this episode was having Nolan and Orissa have these shared memory moments that show us some uncomfortable truths about Nolan's history. He didn't have such a balanced view about integration as he maybe does now. He sort of adopted Orissa and liked her sort of in spite of the fact she was an alien. He definitely didn't have any care for the other aliens when she was a kid. And also, he made her kill somebody. He, made her do things that she probably didn't really want to do, although she doesn't actually remember doing a lot of them. But by the end, they're very conflicted with each other, and Orissa wants to leave, but then Doc Yule gives the bad news that she couldn't actually get all this tech out of them, and they really can't get too far away from each other, otherwise they're going to have these seizures again. The other big development was Alok finding a way to escape, which I had a little trouble believing, but I don't care because I didn't really care that he was captive, but he might be thinking that what he saw was his mother killing his wife, and might be wanting to kill his mother, which will be an interesting start to next week's episode.
Oh, yeah. Stama is still one of the best characters, and that is an interesting thought that Alec might go to get vengeance upon his mother. I hadn't thought about that, but that's bringing some interesting visions to my mind. Yeah, there were some great things in here. I mean, Doc Yule, of course, she's slowly getting over the fact that they sliced her up. In fact, she once again mentioned it to the to the vet, the new vet character, who they rescued from the underground fortress that they blew up with the wormhole bomb or whatever, and mentioned again that they'd cut her skin off and so forth. There's a reason why the other one, Amanda, might think that she wanted him to die. But I love also how the Olmec daughter got a hold of something that they thought would hold power over Doc Yule, and the father, who seems to not really care that much. The daughter seems to be the bad one here. Said, oh, no, destroy it, get rid of it. We don't need this stuff. And so she walks away, but I don't think she's going to destroy it. Something tells me. I love the Doc Yule's reaction too to the vet. When they talk about having to do this brain surgery simultaneously, and and it's proposed that the vet be used, and she's like, no. I also thought Berlin was going to let Orissa die, and it looked like she might have. Just let her, whatever happens to her, because she's still so mad at what happened to Tommy, which wasn't really Orissa's fault, but Berlin doesn't seem to care that it wasn't really her fault. But she does obviously track her down really quickly once she learns that Nolan's going to die without her help. So, and then Amanda asking the question, how did you know where to find her? And then no real answer given. Orissa, those memories, they did seem to be, and they hinted at this when they talked about it, the memories that they were walking through. It was kind of more how they remembered it more than necessarily exactly how it happened, I gathered. And also, as you pointed out, Wendy, some of them were memories that the other one did not remember. Maybe they blocked it out. It was too painful or whatever, such as Orissa being forced to kill that guy who would have come after them anyway. So Nolan was right. But I love seeing Nolan's sister. I mean, my gosh. And you could tell Orissa was really impressed with her, too, in the memories. How she was what Nolan is now. tough and holding the family together, and even the slogan about, we live together or we die together sort of thing. And even down to the love of Johnny Cash. I mean, she was Nolan, and she died because Nolan made a mistake or would not kill somebody, which must have also made an impression on Arissa, because she's, recently had that situation where she wasn't able to kill somebody twice, and Nolan had to come in on one case and actually kill the guy. In the other case, her not killing the leader of the bad guys, might lead to more and more horror and death and so forth. So that was pretty interesting. And when Arissa was trying to kill Nolan, I thought that was very interesting, that seeing through Arissa's memory of her trying to kill him as he's sleeping, and then him remembering that was the night when he pulled her into the underneath covers to snuggle up and stay warm, that was the night that he thought that they had finally broken through and become, a real family. And that was the same night she tried to kill him. That was just a great scene. And yeah, Alec getting away. Like you said, I don't know what that's going to turn into, but I was glad to see that he's out of there so that they don't keep dragging that out anymore. The leader of the Votan Collective, I don't know, he seems nasty, but he also seems kind of comical and not very good at what he does. I mean, he's captured and knifed to the throat by Arissa, but he luckily gets away. She doesn't kill him, and the escape from Alec and all of that stuff. He just seems not that bright. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, he seems very, he definitely has the emotional side of hating the humans and wanting to kill them and being willing to do it, but he doesn't seem to have the strategical skills, as you said, to be able to properly secure a camp or a prisoner. So I'm not sure I'd say comical as much as, he has a higher probably value of himself than the rest of us do based on what he's been able to do. So that's the way I kind of see him there. I mean, it was really powerful stuff. Again, 2 very strong episodes to cover there. It's staying very strong. This second episode is the one that, folks, you might recall when we had the audio bits from the Sci-Fi Media Call that Grant Bowler was talking about, that episode later this season, the Nolan and Arissa-centric one, just some powerful stuff from acting point of view, but also, as the two of you just talked about, the impact of that. And again, I'm not saying any of us have been at that life or death situation in our past, but we all know when it comes to remembering previous situations that weren't always going well, that you tend to, have a much more positive outlook on what happened in the past. And this was very raw and very real, and it's going to have real impacts. And the fact that she was willing to leave, but physically, because of what they had in their brains, can't, I think is going to create even more tension, which should make for some really good stuff in the rest of the episode. So these are just staying very consistently good. I'm very much enjoying them. I mean, it was, brutal situations as came up in your discussions about Berlin being willing to leave Arissa there, in that alleyway to potentially die until she realized she needed him for Nolan's benefit. And yeah, Doc talking about what happened to her, and Amanda and Nolan basically just having to do nothing other than nod and go, yeah, we basically did that to her, but hey, we need your help now. I mean, these folks are in tough times and tough spots, and they're still being able to do what needs to be done. So it certainly makes you want to, or at least for me, root for them and have a way to be able to, even though they're not all friends, somehow come together to protect themselves. So good stuff.
Yeah, I definitely like how thematically they keep exploring this problem of killing between Nolan and Arissa, and how Nolan really turned her into a killer, and how at this point, she's really angry about that and also having a huge amount of guilt that might be clouding her understanding of what needs to be done in the present, as far as killing other people to protect your town or the people you love. Regarding the bad guy, I do like when the bad guy is smarter. It almost feels to me like, for comic relief, they're undermining his intelligence. He seems smarter, or maybe he was just more ruthless when we first met him. But he definitely doesn't have the command of a tightly run ship, based on how, to me, relatively easy it was for Alak to get away. But who knows? He might have bigger plans that we're not aware of. My assumption is that that's going to unify the town at some point. I do agree with you, Brent, that I think the Olmec daughter is a bigger threat than the Olmec father. he seems to be getting slowly won over to the idea that there is some value to these humans, and they might be able to figure out how to find common interests. But the daughter definitely seems like she's ready to kill everybody.
Yeah, and keep in mind the father indicated when he first showed up that he had no problem with the humans. It was all of the other Votan that he had a problem with. But you're right. He seems to be warming not just to the humans, but to the Votan that are there on Earth, and not really considering that much of an enemy. I don't know if that'll change his opinion. He might just take Stama on board his ship as he destroys all the other ones. Who knows?
Well, he likes her. I don't know how he likes everyone else.
Yeah, exactly.
Or if he might try to kill Daytak at some point.
Well, Daytak tries to kill him, and will continue to do so, probably. Okay, and I think that about does it for time this time, folks. A lot of stuff to talk about. So we've got a lot of stuff to talk about in the last call, so be sure to tune in next time. I want to thank Kevin and Wendy for being here, and all of you folks for listening every week. Catch you next time.
Have a great week, folks.
Thanks, everyone.
We offer several ways for you to get in touch with us. If you come to our website at tuningintoscifitv.com, you can leave a comment on any of our blog posts. There's also a link there over to our discussion forums. You can send us email at feedback@tuningintoscifitv.com. You can leave us voicemail by dialing 206-202-4182, or also on Skype at Tuning Into Sci-Fi TV. You can follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/tuningintosci-fi, or visit our Facebook fan page by following the link on our website.
Tuning Into Sci-Fi TV was hosted by Kevin Batchelder, Wendy Hembrock, and Brent Barrett. The theme music for Tuning Into Sci-Fi TV is by Beatnik Turtle. Used with permission. Listen to Tuning Into Sci-Fi TV on Stitcher Radio On Demand. Download the free app today at Stitcher.com. You've been listening to Tuning Into Sci-Fi TV, episode 343, recorded July 5th, 2015.
All right, I'll wrap us up then. Once I finish chewing these peanuts. Hopefully I didn't sound too chipmunky with nuts in my cheeks when I was talking just a moment ago.
No, you did not.
I can always hear it on the playback. It's my voice quality sound changes different when I have food stuffed on my cheeks.
Brent ears. They hear more. They hear more than the rest of us
humans do.
And my hearing is not that great, so it's amazing. I have almost a tinnitus in my ears almost all the time. So I have like a hum and a ringing in my ears.
Well, you must noise filter it really effectively.
Yeah. My brain filters it out, but if I'm in a quiet room, that's why I don't like quiet rooms. If I'm in a quiet room, all I hear is the noise in my ears. It drives me crazy.